When the camera stopped rolling and the stage lights dimmed, the kings and queens of old Hollywood didn't retreat to chauffeur-driven limousines. They climbed behind the wheel themselves, racing toward freedom in roaring machines of chrome, leather, and gasoline. In an era before tabloid helicopters and social media tracking, these classic cars were more than transportation. They were declarations of power, escape routes from fame's suffocating grip, and rolling monuments to success that no Oscar could match. The golden age of film wasn't just built in sound stages and studio lots. It was forged on open highways, where Rita Hayworth's custom Cadillac purred through Beverly Hills, where James Dean pushes Porsche to fatal limits, and where Steve McQueen proved he was as fearless off-screen as on. These weren't just celebrity purchases. They were extensions of personality, carefully chosen machines that revealed who these legends truly were when the makeup came off. This is the untold story of Hollywood's greatest car collectors, 12 stars whose passion for vintage automobiles matched their devotion to the silver screen. From Clark Gable's gentleman racer Duesenbergs to Jane Mansfield's candy-pink Cadillac Parade, from Howard Hughes' engineering obsessions to Greta Garbo's tinted window privacy machines, each collection tells a story deeper than any script. This is where movie star myth meets motor history, where luxury meets legend, the other side of old Hollywood glamour, told through exhaust notes, auction records, and the rumble of engines that still echo through automotive history. James Dean, the rebel and his machines. Before the wreckage, before the myth crystallized into eternal youth, James Dean lived for speed. Dean wasn't Hollywood's typical leading man. He was method before method became mainstream, all nervous energy and coiled intensity packed into 3 major films and 24 years of life. His talent burned white-hot and impossibly brief. Aesop Eden, rebel without a cause, giant. Each performance a masterclass in wounded masculinity and inarticulate longing. But away from the camera, Dean found articulation and acceleration. Motorcycles first, then Porsches, each machine faster than the last, each one feeding an appetite for velocity that seemed inseparable from his artistic hunger. The car that defined him and destroyed him was a 1955 Porsche 550 Spider, racing number 130, nicknamed Little Bastard, in Dean's own rebellious scrawl. Lightweight mid-engine, designed for competition, the 550 was pure motorsport stripped to essentials. Dean had traded in his Porsche 356 Speedster for the Silver Bullet, planning to race it at Salinas. On September 30th, 1955, driving from Los Angeles toward that weekend's race, Dean and his mechanic Rolf Wutheridge approached an intersection near Chelan, California. The other driver never saw them coming. The collision was catastrophic. Dean arrived dead on arrival at Paso Robles War Memorial Hospital around 6:20 p.m., his neck broken, his legend just beginning. What followed was pure Hollywood Gothic. Stories circulated about the Spider's curse, that its salvage parts caused accidents, that the shell disappeared under mysterious circumstances, that Dean's death car carried supernatural malice. These tales remain unverified folklore, the kind of myth-making that tragedy attracts, but they speak to something real, the uncomfortable truth that Dean's essence, that beautiful, dangerous hunger for more, was always going to end badly. The 550 Spider wasn't cursed. It was simply the perfect vehicle for someone driving too fast toward oblivion. Today, Little Bastard remains lost, its whereabouts unknown, scattered a legend. Perhaps that's fitting. James Dean and his Porsche achieved what few mortals manage. They became inseparable from their own mythology, forever young, forever racing to a horizon they'd never reach. The engine's roar became silence, but the image endures, a rebel, a machine, and a cautionary tale about the cost of living without brakes. Clark Gable, the gentleman racer. Clark Gable didn't just play kings on screen. He drove like one. Hollywood's definitive leading man, Gable embodied a particular kind of American masculinity. Confident without arrogance, powerful without cruelty, sophisticated but never soft. His performances in It Happened One Night, Mutiny on the Bounty, and Gone with the Wind made him box office royalty. But Gable's real passion played out on highways and racetracks, behind the wheels of machines that matched his refined but rugged persona. Unlike stars who hired drivers, Gable insisted on piloting his own vehicles, understanding their mechanics, maintaining their temperament. He was a gentleman who got his hands dirty, His garage read like a collector's fantasy made real. A 1935 Duesenberg Model JN on chassis 2585, with its straight-eight engine delivering 320 horsepower, a rolling statement of American automotive supremacy. Gabor also owned one of only two Duesenberg SSJ short-wheelbase roadsters ever built, the other belonging to Gary Cooper, both cars representing the absolute pinnacle of pre-war American luxury and performance. He favored Packard 8 convertible Victorias for elegant daily driving, then graduated to European thoroughbreds, a Jaguar XK120 for weekend sport, a Mercedes-Benz 300SL Gullwing with its iconic doors and race-bred engineering, and a Mercedes-Benz 300SC for grand touring in continental style. What made Gabor's collection remarkable wasn't just its quality, but his relationship with these machines. He understood them intimately, discussing valve timing and suspension geometry with mechanics, personally maintaining vehicles when possible. His cars weren't status symbols purchased by assistants. They were chosen companions, each one reflecting a different aspect of his character. The Duesenberg's American muscle, the Jaguar's sporting spirit, the Mercedes' precision engineering. Studio publicity photographed Gabor beside his cars constantly, but these weren't manufactured moments. This was a man genuinely in his element, as comfortable adjusting a carburetor as delivering a perfect take. After his death in 1960, Gabor's vehicles scattered through auctions and collections, each one carrying provenance that elevated its value beyond metal and chrome. The gentleman racer left behind more than films. He proved that Hollywood royalty could be authentic enthusiasts, that sophistication and horsepower weren't contradictions. Every Duesenberg collector since has chased the ghost of Gabor's impeccable taste, refined, powerful, and utterly self-assured. Steve McQueen, the king of Cool's garage. Steve McQueen didn't collect cars to be seen. He collected them to disappear into motion itself. McQueen's screen persona, taciturn and dangerous, economical with emotion, but explosive in action, was an act. Off camera, he remained exactly that man, a motorcycle racing, car collecting, authority-distrusting loner who happened to be Hollywood's biggest star through the 1960s and 70s. While other actors posed beside vehicles for magazine spreads, McQueen was at Riverside Raceway testing Porsches, at Le Mans researching his passion project, or modifying engines in his own garage. His classic car collection wasn't about status. It was about authenticity, speed, and the pure mechanical truth of man and machine. The crown jewel, of course, was a 1968 Ford Mustang GT390 from Bullitt, Highland Green, with that throaty V8 and the most famous car chase in cinema history through San Francisco streets. After filming, the Mustang disappeared into private hands for decades before resurfacing and selling at Mecum auctions for over $3 million, its provenance making it one of the most valuable Ford Mustangs ever sold. But McQueen's garage went far deeper than one famous movie car. He owned a Jaguar XK120s, one of only 16 built, a barely street-legal race car that embodied his appetite for danger. A Ferrari 275 Jeep B/4 represented Italian exotics at their most pure. Multiple Porsches cycled through a collection, a 356A Speedster for weekend drives, a 911S for daily thrills, and most significantly, his involvement with the Porsche 917 during the filming of Le Mans, the racing drama that nearly bankrupted him, but captured his obsession with motorsport authenticity. McQueen didn't want to act like a racer. He wanted to be one. What separated McQueen from Hollywood's other car enthusiasts was legitimacy. He competed in actual races, finishing second at the 12 Hours of Sebring in 1970. He understood racing lines, tire compounds, and the edge where control becomes disaster. His collection reflected a driver's priorities, not a collector's vanity. Today, McQueen's vehicles command premium prices at auction, each sale breaking records. But numbers missed the point. McQueen's cars mattered because they were driven hard, used as intended, respected as machines rather than displayed as trophies. The King of Cool proved that Hollywood glamour and genuine gearhead passion could coexist if you were willing to risk everything for that perfect lap. Howard Hughes, engineering on four wheels. Howard Hughes didn't see cars as cars. He saw them as mechanical problems waiting for solutions. Before Hughes became Hollywood's most famous recluse, before the obsessive-compulsive isolation and the tissue box shoes. He was aviation's boldest innovator and cinema's most ambitious producer. His mind worked in systems, thrust ratios, stress tolerances, how to make things go faster than physics seemed to allow. That engineering obsession extended beyond aircraft into his automotive fleet, where Hughes collected not for beauty or status, but for performance potential and modification possibilities. His most famous vehicle was a 1931 Duesenberg Model J Durham Tourster, originally owned by comedian Joe E. Brown, later purchased by Hughes and immediately repurposed. While other collectors pampered their Duesenbergs as art pieces, Hughes saw his as a tool. He modified the car to tow gliders for aviation experiments, using that massive straight-eight engine to pull aircraft prototypes into launch position. The Duesenberg wasn't a luxury statement for Hughes. It was a towing vehicle with appropriate torque characteristics. Only an engineer's mind would turn one of America's most elegant automobiles into airport ground equipment. Hughes also maintained a fleet of Cadillacs, each one customized according to his increasingly eccentric specifications. Stories circulated about darkened windows, modified suspensions for smoother rides, elaborate security features. As Hughes's mental health deteriorated to the 1950s and 60s, his relationship with automobiles became more paranoid and less practical, but that underlying engineering mindset never disappeared. He understood these machines at a molecular level, viewing them as systems to be optimized rather than possessions to be enjoyed. Many details of Hughes's automotive modifications remain unconfirmed legend, the kind of stories that accumulate around reclusive billionaires. But the core truth persists. Hughes approached cars the same way he approached everything, as problems to be solved through superior engineering, as vehicles literal and metaphorical, to achieve specific aims. The Duesenberg survives today in collectors' hands, its provenance inseparable from Hughes's bizarre genius. It stands as a monument to a mind that saw the world differently, not as beauty to be appreciated, but as systems to be understood and improved. Hughes didn't collect cars to show off. He collected them to make them better, to bend them toward purposes or designers never imagined. That's not a collector. That's an engineer who happened to be rich enough to experiment. Errol Flynn, roadster rogue. Errol Flynn lived every moment as if it were his last scene in a swashbuckler, and his cars reflected that devil-may-care excess. Flynn wasn't just an actor playing charming rogues in Captain Blood and the Adventures of Robin Hood. He was genuinely that man. Scandal followed him like a shadow. Statutory rape charges, substance abuse, drinking contests, and legendary Hollywood parties where excess was the entry price. His career was built on athletic charm and rakish grins, but off-screen, Flynn's lifestyle was darker, more desperate, more authentically dangerous than any sanitized studio publicity could admit. His choice in automobiles matched that persona: flashy, imported, expensive, and designed for speed. Flynn favored European sports cars and luxury American cruisers in equal measure. Period photographs and Hollywood archives connect him with Packard 12s, those magnificent pre-war machines powered by V12 engines that delivered smooth, overwhelming power. Stories circulated about a Mercedes-Benz SSK in his collection, though specific provenance remains debated among automotive historians, the kind of legend that attaches itself to legendary men without definitive documentation. What's certain is Flynn's taste for fast, attention-grabbing machines that announced his arrival before he stepped out. The precise chassis numbers and ownership records for many Flynn vehicles remain contested. Unlike Gable's meticulously documented collection or McQueen's auction-verified provenance, Flynn's automotive history is hazier, complicated by his chaotic lifestyle and the incomplete record-keeping of 1930s and 40s Hollywood. Treat specific claims cautiously. Flynn's life was lived too recklessly to leave neat paper trails. What matters isn't the exact VIN numbers. It's what Flynn's vehicle choices revealed. A man committed to living at maximum throttle. Consequences be damned. His cars were extensions of his persona, imported, expensive, slightly dangerous, designed to turn heads and break speed limits. Flynn understood that in Hollywood, image was everything, and arriving in a roaring European roadster sent a clear message. This man plays by his own rules. Flynn died at 50, his body ravaged by decades of abuse, his career long past its peak. The cars that carried him through Hollywood's golden years scattered into collections and auctions, their exact histories sometimes as murky as their owners' exploits. But the image remains pristine. A rogue and a roadster, racing toward destruction with a smile that never wavered. Pure Hollywood mythology, wrapped in chrome and speculation. Rita Hayworth, a goddess and a Ghia. Rita Hayworth moved through Hollywood in vehicles as carefully crafted as her screen image, elegant, expensive, and touched by melancholy. Hollywood manufactured Hayworth as the ultimate 1940s sex symbol, transforming Margarita Carmen Cancino through electrolysis, hair dye, and publicity machinery into Rita Hayworth, the love goddess. Her performances in Gilda and CoverGirl made her box office gold. Her image plastered on bombers during World War II, her marriages to Orson Welles and Prince Ali Khan feeding endless tabloid coverage. But beneath the glamour was a woman increasingly tired of being treated as an object, of being desired for an image she didn't create, of being loved for beauty rather than substance. Her choice in automobiles reflected that complicated relationship with fame. The car most associated with Hayworth is a 1953 Cadillac Series 62 Coupe customized by Ghia, the Italian coach builder renowned for transforming American chassis into European-style masterpieces. Only 2 such Cadillac Ghia coupes were built, and one has long carried Hayworth's provenance. The vehicle now resides in the Petersen Automotive Museum, its flowing lines and custom bodywork representing the intersection of Detroit muscle and Italian artistry. However, automotive historians note that the Rita Hayworth attribution relies more on persistent legend than contemporary documentation, the kind of romantic association that celebrities attract whether or not they actually own specific vehicles. What's certain is Hayworth's taste for elegant, distinctive automobiles that matched her carefully constructed public image. Custom Cadillacs, luxury convertibles, vehicles that were mobile extensions of Hollywood couture. These weren't cars to be driven hard or raced. They were meant to be seen, to make entrances, to maintain the goddess image that had become both her fortune and her prison. In her later years, as Alzheimer's disease gradually erased her memory and identity, the cars that once carried Hollywood royalty became irrelevant. The woman who'd been worshipped for beauty faced a cruel decline, her illness unrecognized and untreated for years. The Ghia Cadillac remains in museum collections, a beautiful artifact of glamour, divorced from the complicated woman who may have owned it. Rita Hayworth's automotive legacy is like her career, gorgeous surfaces hiding deeper sadness, provenance that's partly fact and partly Hollywood storytelling, elegance that came at a cost most fans never understood. Gary Cooper understated thunder. Gary Cooper didn't need to announce himself. The machines did that for him. Cooper's screen presence was defined by restraint, the strong, silent type who communicated volumes through posture and minimal dialogue. His performances in High Noon, Sergeant York, and The Pride of the Yankees showcased a particular American archetype: quiet competence, moral clarity without self-righteousness, strength that didn't require advertisement. That same philosophy guided his approach to collecting classic cars. Cooper chose vehicles of supreme power and craftsmanship, then drove them without fanfare, letting quality speak for itself. The crown jewel of Cooper's collection was a 1935 Duesenberg SSJ, one of only 2 short-wheelbase roadsters ever built by the legendary American manufacturer. While most Duesenberg Model JS rode a 142.5-inch wheelbase, the SSJ was shortened to 125 inches, creating a more aggressive, sporting profile without sacrificing the massive supercharged straight-8 engine that produced over 400 horsepower. The other SSJ went to Clark Gable, creating a perfect pairing. Hollywood's 2 most masculine stars, each owning an automotive masterpiece. Cooper's SSJ would eventually become the most expensive American car ever sold at auction. In 2018, at Gooding & Company's Pebble Beach sale, the vehicle commanded $22 million, a record that testified to its rarity, provenance, and the enduring mystique of both Cooper and Duesenberg. But in Cooper's lifetime, the SSJ wasn't an investment. It was transportation chosen for excellence, driven for pleasure, maintained with the same meticulous professionalism Cooper brought to his craft. Beyond the SSJ, Cooper owned other Duesenbergs and luxury automobiles befitting a top-tier star, but always with that characteristic understatement. No custom paint jobs, no flashy modifications, just supreme mechanical and aesthetic quality driven quietly. Cooper understood that true power doesn't need to announce itself. The rumble of a supercharged Duesenberg engine said everything necessary. Cooper died in 1961. His career concluded with dignity, his reputation intact. His vehicles dispersed to collectors who understood their significance. The SSJ's auction record decades later proved what Cooper always knew. Real quality never goes out of style, and genuinely great machines only grow more valuable with time. The quiet man left behind loud proof that understated excellence outlasts every trend. Jane Mansfield, the Pink Parade. Jane Mansfield painted her world pink, and her garage was no exception. Mansfield burst into Hollywood as a platinum blonde bombshell, a calculated attempt to recreate Marilyn Monroe's success through maximum curves, minimum clothing, and relentless self-promotion. Her breakout role in The Girl Can't Help It established her brand. Sexual availability wrapped in cartoonish exaggeration, intelligence camouflaged beneath breathless delivery. Mansfield understood exactly what she was selling. A fantasy so over-the-top it became camp before camp had a name. Her classic car collection extended that aesthetic. Custom pink Cadillacs, a pink mansion, a pink everything, creating a cohesive brand identity that turned her life into performance art. The pink Cadillacs became Mansfield's signature, rolling billboards for her persona. Custom paint jobs and bubblegum shades, interiors upholstered in coordinating colors. Every detail designed to grab attention and reinforce her image as Hollywood's most unsubtle sex symbol. She collected multiple Cadillacs and Buicks over the years, each one modified to match her aesthetic, each one serving as a mobile extension of her carefully constructed public image. The cars weren't about automotive excellence. They were about spectacle, about being unforgettable, about turning every trip to the grocery store into a photo opportunity. Mansfield's relationship with automobiles ended tragically. On June 29, 1967, driving from a Mississippi nightclub appearance toward New Orleans, the Buick Electra 225, she was riding and crashed into the rear of a tractor-trailer. The collision was fatal, instantly killing Mansfield, her boyfriend, and her driver. Her 3 children, including 5-year-old Mariska Hargitay, were asleep in the back seat and survived with injuries. The accident became tabloid fodder, generating gruesome rumors that circulated for decades, but the reality was simply a high-speed crash into an unseen obstacle on a dark highway. The pink Cadillacs that defined Mansfield's image outlived their owner, becoming collectibles that embodied 1950s excess and celebrity branding before social media made such self-promotion routine. Mansfield understood something modern influencers rediscovered. Consistency creates brand recognition, and a pink Cadillac was unforgettable marketing. Today, Mansfield's vehicles appear in automotive museums and private collections, artifacts from an era when celebrities could still surprise, when a blonde in a pink car represented liberation and limitation in equal measure. The parade ended too soon, but the image remains joyful, excessive, unapologetically itself. Greta Garbo, privacy on wheels. Greta Garbo wanted to be alone, and she chose her automobiles accordingly. Garbo's mystique was built on absence. After retiring from film in 1941 at just 36, she vanished from public life with a completeness rare among Hollywood legends. No comebacks, no interviews, no desperate attempts to reclaim lost fame. She simply stopped, retreating into a privacy so fiercely guarded it became its own form of celebrity. Her vehicles reflected that same philosophy. Elegant, expensive, deliberately inconspicuous, designed not for attention but for invisibility. Garbo favored Rolls-Royce vehicles, those British symbols of understated wealth where quality was assumed rather than advertised. A Rolls-Royce associated with Garbo has appeared in European automotive collections, with one identified as Greta Garbo's Rolls in the Grandson Castle Museum in Switzerland. However, automotive historians note that provenance documentation for celebrity-owned vehicles from this era is often incomplete. The attribution may be based on family records, dealer history, or photographic evidence, but definitive paper trails are rare. The association is likely but should be understood as attributed rather than absolutely confirmed. What's certain is Garbo's preference for vehicles with tinted windows, allowing her to move through Los Angeles unseen. Where other stars chose convertibles for maximum visibility, Garbo wanted enclosed sedans, privacy glass, anything that would maintain the barrier between her interior life and public curiosity. Her Rolls-Royce was a statement. It was a shield, mobile isolation from fans and photographers who couldn't accept a retirement. The choice of Rolls-Royce itself is revealing. Not flashy American luxury, not sporty European imports, but British reserve and craftsmanship. Vehicles that whisper wealth rather than shouting it, that prioritize silence and smooth operation over acceleration and style. Garbo's cars were transportation for someone who understood that true luxury is being left alone. After Garbo's death in 1990, her possessions scattered through estates and auctions, each item pursued by collectors hoping to capture some fragment of her unknowable mystique. The vehicles that may have carried her through decades of self-imposed exile remain in collections, their provenance debated, their silence absolute. Garbo got her wish to be alone, and her choice in automobiles ensured that even on the road, surrounded by Hollywood's attention seekers, she remained separate, protected, unreachable behind tinted glass and closed doors. Marlon Brando, moody muscle real machines. Marlon Brando didn't collect cars to be seen. He collected them because broken things made sense to him. Brando revolutionized American acting with method intensity, bringing psychological realism to roles in A Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, and The Godfather. His performances were raw, internal, dangerous, the opposite of Hollywood's polished leading men. Off-screen, Brando was equally complicated, politically active, contemptuous of celebrity culture, fascinated by mechanical systems he could understand and fix. His relationship with vehicles reflected that preference for tangible problems over human complexity. Brando's automotive and motorcycle collection emphasized American machinery. He owned a Harley-Davidson FLH Electroglide, documented through sale paperwork that survived his estate. Proof of genuine ownership rather than publicity legend. Stories connect Brando with a 1955 Ford Thunderbird, often described as a studio gift, though concrete provenance remains elusive. The kind of association that celebrities attract without definitive auction records or registration documents. What's confirmed is Brando's hands-on relationship with his vehicles. He understood engines, performed his own maintenance, treated cars as mechanical systems to be comprehended rather than status symbols to be displayed. This mechanical intimacy fit Brando's personality. Where other method actors pursued emotional truth through psychological exploration, Brando found clarity in spark plugs and transmissions. A carburetor that needed adjustment was a problem with a solution. Fame, family, the Hollywood machinery, those were unfixable. But an engine that responded to logic, care, and proper tool. Brando's preference for American muscle over European exotics was telling. No Ferraris or Jaguars for him. He wanted Mustangs, Corvettes, Thunderbirds, machines built for straightforward power rather than continental sophistication. These were working-class vehicles elevated by performance, the automotive equivalent of his own working-class roots transformed into Hollywood royalty without forgetting where he came from. Later in life, as Brando's weight ballooned and his career calcified into self-parody, his interest in vehicles waned. The man who'd once found peace in mechanical systems retreated into isolation of a different kind. But for a period, wrenching on engines gave Brando something Hollywood never could: problems that stayed solved, systems that responded logically to care, and the satisfaction of making something broken whole again. His vehicles scattered after his death in 2004. Some would confirm provenance, others connected by rumor and photographic evidence. What remains certain is that Brando's relationship with automobiles was about control and comprehension, two things perpetually out of reach everywhere else in his complicated life. Elvis Presley, Chrome Kingdom. Elvis Presley didn't just own cars. He gave them away like other people distributed autographs. The king of rock and roll transformed American music and youth culture, but his relationship with classic automobiles revealed something deeper than musical genius, a generosity bordering on compulsion, an excess that couldn't stop, a need to share wealth that stemmed from never forgetting poverty. Elvis's automotive collection at Graceland became legendary not just for its size, but for its constant turnover. He bought cars for himself, for his entourage, for strangers he met, for women he courted. For anyone whose story moved him in that particular moment, the most iconic vehicle was his 1955 Cadillac Fleetwood Series 60, painted pink, that became visual shorthand for Elvis's early success. That pink Cadillac represented arrival, proof that a truck driver from Tupelo could own the most ostentatious vehicle imaginable. But Elvis didn't stop at one Cadillac. He collected multiple Eldorado convertibles, a Rolls-Royce Phantom V for formal occasions, a custom Stutz Blackhawk that represented 1970s excess at its peak, even a Ferrari Dino, because Italian exotics were expected of superstars. What separated Elvis from other celebrity collectors was the giving. He'd see someone admiring a car and hand over the keys. Band members, staff, girlfriends, people who'd simply been kind. Elvis distributed automobiles like tips. The generosity was genuine but compulsive, part of a spending pattern that kept him touring relentlessly to fund a lifestyle increasingly untethered from financial reality. By the time Elvis died in 1977, his automotive purchases numbered in the hundreds, most given away, creating a sprawling network of Elvis cars whose provenance is documented through recipient testimony and Graceland records. Today, many of Elvis's personal vehicles reside in the Graceland Automobile Museum, a chrome and paint testament to success, excess, and the complicated psychology of a man who couldn't stop spending. The collection includes Cadillacs in every color, custom vehicles modified to specifications, European imports that represented sophistication Elvis both embraced and felt alienated from. Looking at Elvis's automotive legacy, you see American dreams made metal, the boy who had nothing buying everything, then giving it away to fill a void that no number of Cadillacs could satisfy. The cars were beautiful, excessive, and ultimately as tragic as the man who collected them, proof that you can own the world and still feel empty. But for one glorious moment, stepping into that pink Cadillac, Elvis was exactly who he wanted to be, a king who shared his kingdom one set of keys at a time. Zsa Zsa Gabor, custom gold and Rolls-Royce glam. Zsa Zsa Gabor understood that in Hollywood, you didn't need to do anything. You just needed to be fabulous while doing it. Gabor's career was built less on acting talent than on personality perfected into performance art. Famous for being famous before that became an industry, she turned multiple marriages, talk show appearances, and carefully cultivated glamour into a 50-year career. Her vehicles weren't transportation. They were jewelry on wheels, mobile stages for the Zsa Zsa show, props that supported her greatest role, herself. The most famous vehicle was her 1961 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud II, customized by legendary builder George Barris into a golden spectacle. The car featured lavish gold plating, luxurious interior modifications, and enough visual excess to make a Saudi prince blush. Offered at auction by Art Curial, the vehicle was directly linked to Gabor, one of few celebrity cars whose provenance was never seriously disputed because its flamboyance could only belong to one woman. Gabor also owned a 1979 Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible, documented in auction listings as titled directly to her, another rolling monument to conspicuous consumption. Gabor famously claimed she never actually drove her vehicles. She just posed beside them. That quote, delivered with her Hungarian accent and knowing smile, contained more self-awareness than her bimbo persona suggested. She understood exactly what she was selling. Aspiration wrapped in absurdity, wealth displayed without apology, femininity weaponized into lifestyle brand. Her cars weren't about horsepower or handling. They were about being seen arriving, making an entrance, ensuring every appearance felt like an event. The strategy worked brilliantly. While serious actors pursued Oscar glory, Gabor became wealthier through marriages, endorsements, and the monetization of personality. Her vehicles contributed to that carefully constructed image. If you're going to be famous for glamour, arrive in a gold-plated Rolls-Royce. Subtlety is for people with nothing to prove. After Gabor's death in 2016, her vehicles entered the collector market as artifacts of a very specific Hollywood era, when excess was celebration rather than embarrassment, when a woman could build an empire on charm and beautiful possessions, when a gold Rolls-Royce seemed perfectly logical rather than desperately tasteless. Zsa Zsa Gabor's automotive legacy is pure Hollywood satire. Vehicles so over the top they became iconic, a woman who turned vanity into virtue, and cars that were never about driving but always about arriving. She understood that in the end, nobody remembers the road, they remember the entrance. Darling, of course, to the stars of old Hollywood. Classic cars were never just transportation. They were declarations of identity, escape routes from fame, and sometimes the very machines that would write their final chapters. The chrome and leather held their freedom, their secrets, and their carefully crafted images. Some were true drivers who raced at Sebring and understood engines. Others were collectors of beauty who treated vehicles like jewelry. But every car they chose revealed something their movies couldn't: the real person behind a Hollywood mask. Their garages were museums of ego and escape, reminders that fame may fade, but style, like a perfectly restored Duesenberg or a classic Mustang, never truly dies. Every key they turn still echoes in today's collector market, where these vintage automobiles command millions and carry legends in their provenance. The golden age of film lives on these machines, one classic car at a time, each one whispering stories of the icons who once sat behind those steering wheels, racing toward immortality.